Hey there everybody, it's Raine from Initiative Tabletop, and today we're bringing your dreams of mechanical combat to life with a game called A.E.G.I.S. Now this is a game from Zephyr Workshop, but Zephyr Workshop has partnered with Greenbrier Games to make this a reality. If you were an attendee of Gen Con 2016, you might have seen this being played at the Greenbrier booth. The game will be going up on Kickstarter to fund, and we were lucky enough to get a copy of it to check out just for you guys. So, without waiting any longer, let's hop in the cockpit, get these robots to the battleground, and start some mechanical mayhem. So here you see a basic setup using the standards rules for A.E.G.I.S. It's a two-player setup. One player is going to be controlling Aner and his group, which is more of an aggressive strategy, where the other player, which is me, I'm going to be controlling Gamout, and his strategy is more sit back, let them come at you. So there's 5 different classes of robot. You've got Assault, Evasive, Guard, Intel, and Support. That's where A.E.G.I.S. gets its name from. Your A class, they're aggressive and really well-rounded units. They've got some pretty good attack, pretty good defense. They've got some pretty good movement. Your E class, they're far-reaching and utilitarian robots. So basically, a lot of them have flight. They can get over terrain obstacles, they can scout out an area, they can pick some robots off if you need to. Your G class, they're solid and powerful tanks. Now I really like the use of the word tanks in this game because tanks actually remind me of tanks. Not only do they look like tanks, but they basically perform like tanks. They'll sit on the board with a giant gun, wait for enemies to come by, and just pick them apart. You have I-Class, which are all about controlling and deterring foes. Your I-Class robots can give buffs and debuffs, things like that. And then your S-Class are high-power support machines. They have high energy production. They can sometimes repair other units. And then they can also do buffs to damage and stuff like that as well. So you're going to get 5 different robots to start from. You can have 5 robots on the field at once. And then you're also going to have a set of your combinable robots, because in A.E.G.I.S, robots can combine to form bigger ones. So the way this will work is the 2 players, so I'll use green for myself and red for my opponent, will roll off. I rolled higher, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to deploy first. So you've got 2 different zones on the board, and you can deploy your robots in any hex in that zone. Now the advanced rules have you playing without hexes, and it's all done based off of measurements. So if you're a war game player and you're versed in that, you can do that as well. I like sticking to the hex grid because it just, for me, it's a little more fun. So I'm just going to go ahead and set these guys up in here. I want my tanks kind of together. My support, I need to have kind of backing up my tanks. And then my opponent's going to go ahead and place their robots next. Now this is where some strategy comes in, because depending on how you set up your robots, I mean, it can really give you an edge when starting the game. So once you've set up, you're going to go into the game, and it's going to go in a series of turns. Now, A.E.G.I.S was designed to be an easy-to-learn, easy-to-pick-up war game that doesn't use a lot of models and things like that. You still have the same basic rules. You know, you can move your units, you can take actions with them, things like that. You also have the cards. The cards for your robots are going to tell you everything you need to know. When you play a game of A.E.G.I.S, it's going to go through turns that are going to be made up of 2 different phases. You have a recharge phase and an actions phase. So before we go into the details of that, let me show you a little bit about some card anatomy. This is an example of a card that is representative of a unit in A.E.G.I.S. You've got what class it is, how many spaces it can move, the amount of energy output it gives you during the recharge phase, its integrity, which is essentially its HP, and then most robots have 2 different actions. When you go through an action, it's how many dice are rolled, the accuracy of the action, what happens, and the range of the action. Now that we've gone over card anatomy, I know it was a little quick and dirty, we're going to go through the phases of a turn, as I mentioned earlier. You start off with a recharge phase, and this is important because this is where you get your energy. You have to spend energy to do anything in A.E.G.I.S. So what you do is you look at the energy output of all of the cards that you have in front of you that are active, not the ones that are not in play. You add all of those up. For instance, I've got 4, 5, 2, 3, and 4. So that's going to give me 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I'm going to be at 18 energy for my turn. Now what I can do is I can spend this energy any way I see fit. A robot can move and then take an action unless a card says otherwise. So a robot cannot move after taking an action unless it takes a light action, which the rulebook clearly states it can take the action and then move. If you ever want to move with a robot, you can pay energy equal to the number of hexes or inches in the advanced version that it wants to move. You simply look at their movement value and they can move up to that total value. So we're going to go with the ABB 100. Its movement value is 4. So I can spend 1, 2, 3, 4 energy and move this guy 1, 2, 3, 4 hexes. Doesn't have to be in a straight line, but as long as you can move in that range. Okay, so I've spent 4 and I moved 4. What I like to do is I keep track of their HP with dice, which I'm sure that when the full game releases, they'll have a way to track all that. But this also helps me not only keep track of their integrity, but keep track of which of my robots have activated. I'm going to go ahead and activate the GMD 100 next. So he can move a total of 3. So I'm going to 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to move him 1, 2, 3. Kind of move him up behind some cover here. These little terrain hexes block line of sight, and you can't move past them unless a robot has flight. The first couple of turns, just like any war game, you're going to go ahead and just move in to engage with your opponent. So what we're going to do is, let's just move in closer. Let's go through a couple of rounds here, and then we'll get into some action, and I'll show you guys how action works. Alright, so it's been a couple of rounds. You go through the recharge phase, and then the activation phase, and then the recharge phase and the activation phase, and now we're kind of getting closer out into the board. Our robots are getting ready to get into some mangled metal here, because we're going to just tear each other up. So it's my turn to activate. I've already got my energy, already recharged and everything. I'm going to go ahead and activate my SSM 400. Now he's got 2 different actions. They both just happen to be the same thing, because if you look at his art, it makes sense. He's got 2 missile pods on his back. So I'm going to go ahead and activate the first one. I'm going to spend 3 energy, because you spend an energy per dice rolled in an action. So I'm going to spend 3, 1, 2, 3, and the range is 4 to 10. So that means that I can target any enemy opposing robot that is within 4 to 10 spaces away from him. It does not have to be in a linear line. I'm going to roll 3 dice, and this is the accuracy. So this means that every die that I roll of the 3 that is a 5 or higher is a success. For each success I'm going to do 1 damage to the enemy robot. I'm going to go ahead and grab 3 dice, and I'm going to roll them. I'm actually going to target this little guy over here because he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces away. And I know that this is an aggressive robot and he's going to come after me, so I want to get him out of commission as soon as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and roll. Out of this roll, I got a 2, a 2, and a 5. That means 1 die succeeded. I'm going to do 1 damage to this robot. Then his activation would be over. Now that he is gone, I've got to think about what else I want to do. Let's say that I want to activate my SAR 100. He actually has an action that allows him to increase the damage of a fellow robot. I can do that to a robot that is 8 spaces away. I'm going to target my little guy over here. So in this one, I'm going to roll 3 dice. But this guy actually has a special kind of accuracy. What this means is that I'm going to roll 3 dice. All of them have to be a 2 or higher in order for this action to work. So I'm going to go ahead and try that. Let me go ahead and try this here. So all of my dice were above 2, which means the action did succeed. And so now, this guy I know is going to have increased damage until the beginning of my next turn. You're going to continue to take actions like that until either you lose all of your robots, or you can actually push some robots off of the board. If they get pushed off the board, they are destroyed. Or you're left with a robot that cannot output damage. If it cannot damage your opponent's energy or damage any of your opponent's robots, you have to forfeit the match. But before we end things here, I actually want to show you something awesome. That is a combine action. On its turn, a robot may make a combine action with another robot, assuming that you have the right combined robots in your combine pool. Let's take a look at these two guys right here. It's one of my G class and one of my S classes. My S class robot already activated this turn, so he can't do the combine. However, my G class robot that's next to him, my Get 100, can. In order to do a combine action, you have to pay the energy output of both robots that you're combining. In this case, it would be 2 plus 4, which is 6. So I'll pay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You will get the combined robot that they make, and you'll remove the two robots that combine and place the combined robot in the spot where the combined robot was targeting. Let me make this clear a little bit. If this robot was targeting this robot to combine, the combined robot would go here. If this robot was targeting this robot, then the combined robot would go here. That simple. So you no longer need those two robot cards because they're no longer on the board. We'll get them out of the way. You place the new robot on the board and place their card right in your play area. Now, some things will happen when you combine. For instance, sometimes the robots will have a green ability, a passive ability or something like that listed at the bottom of their card. As you can see, this one doesn't have one of those abilities. However, one of these combined robots does, and I want to show that to you. This guy, the ABB-1000, has an ability at the bottom that states, after this unit combines, it deals 2 damage to all enemies in a 2 range, which basically means it's a radius. So every 2 hexes around the robot when it combines, all enemies in that area take 2 damage, which is awesome because it's a thing that just happens. And like I was talking about just a little while ago, determining which robot you're going to combine with is a big strategy because placement comes into play. So basically, you're going to keep going back and forth, and you're going to take turns, and you're going to recharge, and you're going to take actions and things like that. As you lose robots, you get less energy to spend during the turn. As you combine, you also get less energy because you're getting rid of 2 robots for 1, but the robot is much more powerful. Now, there are 3 ways to lose the game. You either A, knock out all your opponent's robots, B, you end up getting a rout, which means you have no robots that are capable of dealing damage to your opponent's either energy or robots. Or, if you're down to robots that on the recharge phase of the turn you can't get at least 5 energy, you lose the game. Well, there you have it. That is a look at A.E.G.I.S from Zephyr Workshop and Greenbrier Games. No, seriously, that was a quick look at A.E.G.I.S. Now, A.E.G.I.S is going to be a game that's going to be going up on Kickstarter very soon. Zephyr Workshop teamed up with Greenbrier to make this happen. It was on display at Gen Con this previous year. I think that the guys from Zephyr Workshop have an amazing idea here. They want to get a war game out that's super easy to play, easy to get to the table, doesn't take a million years to set up, and I think that they've achieved that. There's a lot of different variants in the game, there's a lot of different robots, a lot of different units, and I think that they plan to release starter sets that'll have different robots in them. And of course, over time, there's going to be more robots that come out, more leaders, things like that to enhance the storyline of the game. I think it's a lot of fun. I do enjoy playing it. It's perfect because it's like a game that I can take over to a friend's house to get them into the war game mindset, but I don't have to carry around a big 4x4 table. I don't have to carry around bags of models. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy assembling and painting models. This is something that's easy to take over to a friend's house, bust out, get it on the table, and play. And I do think, like, the war game community in general, this is something that's missing. And Zephyr Workshop and Greenbrier are working hard to fill that void, and I think we're going to see a lot more players get into this genre of gaming. So keep an eye out for this on Kickstarter very soon, and until next time, guys, happy gaming.